Hey guys, darkmaster491 here, and I've got a battle versus another gym leader from the PAX Pokémon League, Ian the Tavern Keeper. This is going to be a 6 versus 6 single battle. My opponent has a Xatu on their team, and Xatu has access to the Magic Bounce ability, so I don't want to set up the Stealth Rock until I get rid of the Xatu. What I can do is I can leave with my Choice Scarf Zapdos, and I can use it to scout for what my opponent leads with, and I can have my Zapdos go for the Volt Switch to get chip damage on whatever Pokemon my opponent has on the field, and I can switch it out to another Pokemon that can deal with the opposing Pokemon. Cinderace has U-turn, so I can pretty much spam Volt Switch and U-turn to weaken the opposing Pokemon. Hatterene can go for the Trick Room as usual, so I have that option as well. Choice Band Dugtrio looks pretty decent into my opponent's team. I can use Dugtrio to trap the Incineroar and knock it out with a Choice Band Earthquake. Dugtrio has Stone Edge for the Xatu and Sucker Punch for the Decidueye. Dugtrio just needs to watch out for Weavile, which outspeeds it. So basically my game plan depends on which Pokemon I knock out. If I can knock out the Incineroar and the Beware, then I can have my Hatterene set up the Trick Room, and my Glastrier can pretty much sweep my opponent's team under Trick Room. If I can knock out the Weavile and Incineroar, then I can Dynamax my Zapdos, and Zapdos can get a sweep going. And once I get rid of the Xatu, I can have my Skarmory set up the Stealth Rock, which will make this battle a lot easier for me since I won't have to worry about any potential Focus Sash Pokemon after my Skarmory sets up the Stealth Rock. Anyways, I'm ready to battle, so let's jump into the battle now. Alright, so my opponent's going to lead with the Decidueye, and I'm going to lead with my Zapdos. So I'm just going to have my Zapdos go for the Volt Switch to get some chip damage onto the Decidueye and switch out into my Skarmory. The Decidueye could go for a Ghost type attack, but my Skarmory can take it pretty well since Skarmory has very high physical defense, and I can always roost off the damage if necessary. And I'm going to have my Skarmory try to get some super effective Brave Burst onto the Decidueye. So let's see what the Decidueye decides to do. Could go for the Ghost type attack, or maybe a Swords Dance, but more than likely it's going to try to attack. It's actually going to go for the Tailwind. So that's interesting. Not really going to be too useful since my Skarmory can pretty much wall whatever the Decidueye wants to do. So they'll probably have to switch out or go for the U-turn to switch out. So I'm just going to go for a Brave Bird to get some super effective damage onto the Decidueye. I'm not sure if the Brave Bird will actually knock it out. It might be a 2-hit KO since my Skarmory has no physical attack investment. So yeah, Skarmory doesn't really have the greatest physical attack, but Brave Bird would still do some pretty good damage to the Decidueye. So they're going to go for the U-turn. Let's see what they send in here. I'm thinking maybe the Xatu. They're actually going to send in the Incineroar. Okay. I thought maybe they would send in the Xatu expecting my Skarmory to set up Stealth Rocks. So I'm going to get a little chip damage onto the Incineroar with Brave Bird. So maybe the Xatu... I don't know, maybe the Xatu doesn't have Magic Bounce. I mean, I would have thought they'd switch it in. But I'm still going to play it safe. I'm kind of wary about the Xatu and the Magic Bounce ability. So I don't want to set up Stealth Rocks yet, even though there's a Fire type in the field and they are threatening me, and I'm probably going to get knocked out by a... It might be a 2-hit KO, I'm not sure. Skarmory has pretty good defense, so it might survive Flare Blitz from the Incineroar. And I would like to get the Stealth Rocks up, but I'm not sure if my opponent might be trying to bait me into setting up the Stealth Rocks. So I'm just going to go for a Roost, and let's see what my opponent decides to do. They decide to go for the Parting Shot, so... Yeah, I think this is the... I think they're going to switch into Xatu now for sure. To try to Magic Bounce my potential Stealth Rock, but I didn't go for the Stealth Rock, since I want to wait on that and see what my opponent's going to do. Well, I need to get rid of the Xatu first before I can set up Stealth Rocks, and they are going to send in Xatu, so a good thing I didn't go for the Stealth Rock. So I'm going to get that Roost off, and it's going to bring my Skarmory back up to full health, which will let it survive at least one attack from any Pokemon since Skarmory has 30 ability, so I can preserve my Skarmory for later on, and perhaps we can set up some Stealth Rocks later on in the battle. But for now, I'm going to switch into my Zapdos and go for a Volt Switch, since that's a safe play in case they switch out the Xatu. I'm not sure what the Xatu is going to do. They might go for a Thunder Wave or maybe start Calm Minding. I'm not really sure what kind of Xatu they're using. So could try to set up with Calm Minds, or I'm not sure if it has access to the Cosmic Power. They're going to go for Nightshade. Okay, so that's fine with me. So it seems to be a pretty standard Xatu with support Xatu. Maybe with Thunder Wave, it's got the Nightshade, so it doesn't appear to be a Calm Minding Xatu. Since probably would have went for the Calm Mind if it was a setup Xatu. So Volt Switch is going to do some pretty good damage, but based on that damage it might have survived the Thunderbolt, but I didn't want to go for Thunderbolt in case they switch out into the Decidueye. But either way, it's not really a big deal since I do have the option to Dynamax my Xatu, my Zapdos if necessary. My opponent has a Xatu, I have the Zapdos. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to send in my Cinderace. I'm going to go for a U-turn here. Let's see what they decide to do. They're going to go for the Roost. That's fine with me. At least a good thing about Zapdos is Zapdos being an electric type, and with electric types being immune to Thunder Wave, they can't go for the Thunder Wave into Zapdos if they have that. So yeah, I'm going to U-turn right back into Zapdos and scout for the potential Thunder Wave, since that could be a problem. Let's see what they decide. They could go for another Nightshade too, and yeah, Zapdos wouldn't be too healthy. But let's see, maybe they go for the Thunder Wave. Yep, and they go for the Thunder Wave, so that's great. And just gonna finish it off with a Volt Switch, and finally we can get up those Stealth Rocks next turn. Can Volt Switch and send in my Skarmory, and this battle is gonna be much faster now once I get those Stealth Rocks up. So that's looking really good. Let's see what my opponent decides to send in. They might just send in the Incineroar again. But yeah, I could just set up the Stealth Rocks anyways, since my Skarmory has the Sturdy ability. And then I can trap the Incineroar with Dugtrio the following turn to get rid of the Incineroar. Let's see what they send in. More than likely the Incineroar, but maybe they send out something else to try to set up on Skarmory. Okay, so they're going to send in the Weavile, so maybe they're going to try to set up with Swords Dance and then Dynamax or something. I'm just going to go for Stealth Rocks. I want to get those rocks up. I can always have my Hatterene set up the Trick Room if necessary. Okay, so they're going to just go for the Icicle Crash. Not too much damage. Skarmory has really good physical defense. Tanking those hits really well. So that's really good. Got those rocks up, so we are good to go now. And I'm going to just Whirlwind the... actually, I'm going to Roost first. And thinking next turn I'll go for the Whirlwind, since I want to keep my Skarmory healthy. So yeah, I'm going to Roost first, but I do want to Whirlwind in case the Weavile might try to set up a Swords Dance if it has that. Or they could also Dynamax if they want, and maybe try to go for Max Knuckles or something. Or just keep trying to flinch my Skarmory with Icicle Crashes. But they're going to commit the Dynamax. So this is really good, since Skarmory can take those hits all day. Unless they Max Knuckle. Max Knuckle would be a really good play if they have fighting type attack on the Weavile. So it's either going to be a Max Knuckle or a Max Hailstorm. There's the Max Hailstorm, and my Skarmory can take that pretty well. It can just Roost off the damage. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing I went for the Roost, in case they Dynamax. But either way, I mean, even if I went for the Whirlwind and, you know, they Dynamax, I could, next turn I could just send in my Hatterene, set up the Trick Room, and have my Glastrier go for some Max Knuckles to knock out the Weavile. Well, Max Knuckles should probably be a one-hit KO on Weavile, because Weavile is pretty bad physical defense. So, yeah, it should be really easy for Glastrier to knock out if it came down to that. Just gonna go for a Roost here. Stall out the Dynamax, that's the idea, and then once the Dynamax turns end, when if Skarmory is healthy enough, I can go for the Whirlwind. Just one more Dynamax turn. Yeah, so this is looking pretty good so far. Okay, so they're gonna go for the Max Knuckle. Really good play. So that'll allow them to get more damage with the Icicle Crashes. But I definitely think they should have did that from the very first turn of the Dynamax. Should have just went for 3 Max Knuckles and then try to pick up the KO on Skarmory with, or deal enough damage to at least 2-hit KO Skarmory with the Icicle Crash. Could even potentially get the flinch, so yeah, so Icicle Crash at +3 would be really scary. But let's see how much damage Icicle Crash does now. It's at +1 attack. So it's going to do a lot more damage than it did before. Maybe around 50% damage. Although Skarmory is pretty good physical defense, so should be able to take it somewhat well. Okay, I did actually like around 40-45-ish. Oh, that was the hail chip damage. So I imagine I'd say around maybe 40 or so. 40-45%. So I got the flinch. I really don't want to take any chances here, so I'm just going to go for a Whirlwind. And hopefully we don't get flinched, because it's a 30% chance each time the Icicle Crash is used for the Weavile to get the flinch, so I'm not taking any chances here. Just want to Whirlwind the Weavile. Also makes it harder for me to set up the Trick Room, since the Weavile could potentially get the flinch onto my Hatterene, and that would be really bad. Yeah, since I wouldn't be able to get the Trick Room up if it gets the flinch onto my Hatterene, so definitely a better idea to just Whirlwind the Weavile. I'm gonna Whirlwind again. I'm gonna go for Fake Out, so that's fine. I mean, I could have just finished it off with Flare Blitz, but well, at least I know the Incineroar has Fake Out now. Okay, now they're just gonna finish off the Skarmory Flare Blitz. I mean, they could have did that last turn, but yeah, Skarmory's gonna go down. Thinking of sending in my Dugtrio, but if I do that, they might send in the Weavile the following turn, so I do have to be wary about that. But we're pretty much fine for the most part. I mean, if anything, I could try to set up the Trick Room with Hatterene. If Hatterene gets flinched, then I'll just YOLO and send out Glastrier and just hope for the best. But ideally, I would like to have the Trick Room up. Let's see, I'm just gonna go for Earthquake. High horsepower is there in case like someone has a Rillaboom on the team, the grassy terrain is in effect, so at least I can have another reliable ground type attack to use just in case grassy terrain is in effect. But yeah, also useful if I have my own Rillaboom on my team, since grassy terrain kind of messes with Earthquake. Yeah, it reduces the damage by 50%, so that's kind of annoying. But anyways, we're going to take out this Incineroar, and they probably send out the Weavile. Let's see what the Barbarian, that's a different Pokemon. It's the Beware. I believe it has the Fluffy ability, so that doesn't actually decrease the damage of Earthquake if I recall correctly. It only decreases the damage output of physical contact moves. So Earthquake is not a contact move, so we should be fine. I'm not sure if Earthquake Choice Band from Dugtrio will actually knock out the Beware, but at this point I'm just gonna go for damage. And Even if it doesn't pick up the KO, it'll probably leave it in the red and Zapdos can just pick up the KO Volt Switch. So let's see how much damage this does. I mean, it'd be great if we can pick up the KO here, but not likely. Oh, it's actually going to pick up the KO. I was actually surprised about that. But we get the crit, so that explains that crit, that why we got the KO. Well, I'm not sure how bulky Beware is, but I'm pretty sure that Earthquake should not have picked up the KO. I thought it would have survived, but that's fine. We take those. So Decidueye is on the field here. I kind of want to switch, but Decidueye could go for a Ghost type attack. I mean, Dugtrio has like pretty weak physical defense, so they could pretty much use anything to knock out Dugtrio. Yeah, they could go for the Spirit Shackle to knock out Dugtrio, or pretty much any physical attack, or yeah, because Dugtrio is like really low HP and bad defenses, so it'll get knocked out by anything. I can't use Sucker Punch because I'm locked in an Earthquake. I could have Dynamax Dugtrio. I don't really want to do that though. I would kinda prefer to Dynamax Glastrier or anything else. I don't really want to Dynamax Dugtrio. So yeah, they're just gonna go for the Leaf Blade. That's fine. I'm gonna send in my Hatterene. I'm thinking I could set up the Trick Room now, since the Decidueye, this would be the perfect opportunity since the Decidueye doesn't have any moves that would flinch Hatterene. So I'm in a good position to just set up the Trick Room, and after Hatterene faints, I can send in my Glastrier and try to get a sweep going with my Glastrier. Or I'm actually thinking I could go for the U-turn with Cinderace too, but I kind of want to just finish off this battle and set up the Trick Room and knock out the rest of the Pokemon with Glastrier. So yeah, I'm gonna go for the Trick Room. Lots of options, but I think the best and quickest option right now is to set up the Trick Room, and that would just be a lot easier if I can get that going. They're gonna go for the Spirit Shackle, and that's fine. My Hatterene is Focus Sash, so that's not gonna pick up the KO. Perfect. Okay, so I can set up the Trick Room now, and probably go for a Dazzling Gleam next turn, or Mystical Fire. I mean, just in case they switch out, I might just go for the Dazzling Gleam. Although Mystical Fire guarantees the KO, but just to cover a potential Primarina switch, thinking of going for the Dazzling Gleam. Maybe they switch into Weavile or something. The Mystical Fire, the Dazzling Gleam doesn't really matter. Should probably pick up the KO on the Weavile. Weavile is good special defense, but not enough to probably shouldn't survive Mystical Fire. I'm not really sure. I forget how much HP the Weavile had. Let's see what they are going to send out. They're going to send out the Weavile, so yeah, the Weavile is at full HP. Actually, maybe would have survived Mystical Fire, but yeah, not Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam pretty much covered whatever they could have switched out into the previous turn. But yeah, they're probably going to go for Ice Shard or Fake Out since they sent in Weavile. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense to send out Weavile while the Trick Room is in effect. Let's see what they do here. Oh, they're gonna go for Fake Out. Okay. So that tells me the Weavile is not Choice Banded. But anyways, that's fine because now I get to send in my Glastrier and we can pretty much finish off the rest of the Pokemon, and that's should be a good game. I'm gonna go for a Max Steel Spike in case they switch out into the Primarina. It still knocks out Weavile and gets some pretty good damage into Primarina, and they do switch out into Primarina, so that's perfect. Yeah, definitely not a good idea to go for Max Knuckle. Don't want to get greedy here since Primarina could potentially stall out my Trick Room turns and Dynamax turns. That would be pretty annoying. But yeah, Dynamax Glastrier is going to be doing a lot of damage to Primarina now. Gonna have to take a 130 base power Max Steel Spike. so that's going to do big damage. And this battle is almost about to time out, so this is actually running really close to the timer. Just gonna go for another max steel spike, and that will pick up the KO on the Primarina. And we can finish off the Weavile the following turn, even though the Trick Room is about to end. Not really much the Weavile can do. As long as I boost my Glacier's defenses, we should be fine. And that's gonna pick up the KO on Primarina, and now Glacier will be at +2 defense and +1 attack, and there's really nothing the Weavile can do. If it has low kick, it can't even damage my Glacier, since Dynamax is immune to those kind of weight-based mechanic moves. And if it has Brick Break, that's not going to do much damage. So, as Glacier is at +2 defense. So yeah, basically there's nothing the Weavile can do. It's pretty much good game. So yeah, wow, like literally 57 seconds on the clock too. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, the Glacier is going to finish off the Weavile, and that's going to be a good game.